In this video, you're going to build discipline so strong that the world will have no choice but to obey. And this will happen even if you don't have time, even if you've never set foot in a gym, even if you failed 1,000 times before. Yamamoto Tsunetomo, the legendary samurai who wrote the Hagakure, wasn't concerned with perfect schedules or ideal conditions. He forged warriors in chaos, in scarcity, in the imminence of death. And he discovered something disturbing. True discipline doesn't need resources. It only needs a brutal decision with yourself. The problem is that you've been programmed to believe that discipline requires monumental sacrifices. Lie. The samurai mastered themselves in minutes, not years, with simple daily practices that anyone can apply right now. Through the eyes of Yamamoto Tsunetomo, I'm going to reveal the 5 lethal principles that transformed ordinary men into unstoppable forces. Principles that work in your chaotic routine, in your bedroom, in the middle of your despair. After this, you'll never again be a hostage to your weaknesses. 1. The morning ritual of death. Yamamoto Tsunetomo believed that every samurai should wake up and immediately contemplate their own death. Not as a morbid exercise, but as the ultimate liberation. When you start your day knowing you could die at any moment, everything changes. The petty fears vanish, the excuses evaporate. What remains is raw, unfiltered action. But here's what makes this practical for you right now. You don't need an hour of meditation or a silent temple. You need 30 seconds. The moment your eyes open, before checking your phone, before thinking about your problems, you acknowledge one simple truth. Today might be your last day on earth. Feel it in your chest. Let it sink into your bones. This isn't about being dramatic. It's about perspective. When death is real to you, that difficult conversation you've been avoiding becomes trivial. The workout you keep postponing becomes obvious. The discipline you think you lack suddenly appears because you realize there's no time to waste on weakness. The samurai didn't wait for motivation. They acted from a place beyond emotion. They understood that hesitation is just another form of death, a slow decay of your potential. So they moved immediately, decisively, without negotiation with their own minds. This is what separated them from everyone else. Here's how you implement this. When your alarm goes off, you have a choice. You can hit snooze and die a small death, surrendering your will to comfort. Or you can rise immediately, honoring the warrior inside you. No countdown, no bargaining, just movement. This single act, repeated daily, rewires your entire existence. The beauty is in its simplicity. You're not changing your whole life in this moment. You're just winning the first battle of the day. But that victory compounds. It creates momentum. It proves to yourself that you're capable of doing hard things before your brain fully wakes up. Most people lose their day in the first 10 minutes. They check social media, they scroll through problems, they marinate in anxiety before their feet touch the floor. They've already been defeated, and they don't even realize it. The samurai way is different. You claim your morning, you claim your mind, you claim your destiny. Think about what happens when you master this. Every single day begins with a win. Not a huge Instagram-worthy achievement, but a private victory that nobody sees except you. And that's what makes it powerful. You're not performing for others. You're building something internal, something unshakable. The ritual doesn't end when you get out of bed. It continues into your first actions. Cold water on your face. A moment of silence. A conscious breath. These aren't complicated practices. They're anchors that ground you in reality, pulling you out of the dream state where excuses live and into the waking world where warriors operate. Tsunetomo wrote that the way of the samurai is found in death. He meant that true freedom comes when you stop clinging to comfort, to safety, to the illusion of control. When you accept the temporary nature of everything, you stop holding back. You stop saving your best efforts for someday. You deploy everything you have right now because now is all you've ever had. This morning practice sets the tone for everything that follows, and it connects directly to what comes next, because once you've conquered the morning, you need a tool for every other moment when weakness tries to creep back in. 2. The 7-second rule. Your mind is constantly trying to negotiate with reality. It sees a challenge and immediately starts calculating escape routes. Should I do this now or later? Maybe tomorrow would be better. Perhaps I'm not ready yet. These thoughts flash through your consciousness in microseconds, and they kill more dreams than any external obstacle ever could. The samurai understood something crucial about human psychology that modern science is only now confirming. There's a tiny window between thought and action where everything gets decided. Tsunetomo called it the gap between life and death. Today, we can measure it. It's roughly 7 seconds. When an opportunity appears, when a difficult task presents itself, when you know what needs to be done, you have 7 seconds before your brain talks you out of it. 7 seconds before fear builds its case. 7 seconds before rationalization takes over. If you don't move within that window, you've already lost. This explains why some people seem to have supernatural discipline, while others drown in procrastination. The difference isn't willpower or character, it's speed of execution. The disciplined person doesn't give their mind time to rebel. They see, they decide, they act. All within 7 seconds. Watch a child learning to jump into a pool. The ones who think about it too long never jump. They stand at the edge calculating, imagining all the ways it could go wrong, and eventually they walk away. But the child who counts to 3 and leaps? They're in the water laughing, before fear had time to build its prison. You can use this ruthlessly in your daily life. The moment you think about going to the gym, you have 7 seconds to put on your shoes. Not to go to the gym yet, just to put on your shoes. The moment you think about calling that person, you have 7 seconds to pick up the phone. The moment you think about starting that project, you have 7 seconds to open the document. Notice what happens here. You're not committing to the entire task. You're just moving toward it before your mind can mount a defense. And here's the secret. Once you start, continuation becomes easier than stopping. The hardest part is always the beginning, and the 7-second rule destroys that barrier. The samurai applied this in combat, but the principle works everywhere. In battle, hesitation meant death. The warrior who paused to consider his options was already defeated. The one who acted immediately, even imperfectly, survived and adapted. Your daily battles work the same way. The overthinking kills you slowly. Think about your own experience. How many times have you known exactly what you needed to do, felt the impulse to do it, and then watched yourself talk your way out of it? That's the gap. That's where discipline dies. That's where the 7-second rule saves you. Start paying attention to these moments. You'll be shocked how many times per day you have a good impulse that gets murdered by hesitation. The workout, the difficult email, the creative project, the honest conversation, they all die in that gap between knowing and doing. But when you implement this rule, something shifts. You become someone who acts instead of someone who thinks about acting. And the world responds to action, not intention. People can sense it on you. Opportunities start appearing because you've become the kind of person who seizes them. Here's what makes this devastating. It's cumulative. Every 7-second decision you win builds your capacity for the next one. Every time you move before fear arrives, you're training your nervous system to default to action. Within weeks, it becomes your new normal. The connection to what we discussed before is clear. You wake up and win the morning ritual. Then throughout the day, you win these 7-second battles. But there's something even deeper that needs to be addressed, a mindset that makes all of this sustainable. 3. The walking corpse principle. There's a famous passage in the Hagakure where Tsunetomo describes the ultimate samurai mindset. Consider yourself already dead. Not metaphorically, literally. You are a corpse that has been granted temporary animation. This isn't pessimism. It's the most liberating philosophy ever conceived. When you truly internalize this, something remarkable happens. All the social anxiety disappears. The fear of judgment evaporates. The paralysis around failure dissolves. Because what can hurt a dead man? What can embarrass someone who no longer exists? The walking corpse is free in ways the living never are. Modern people are trapped by the desperate need to protect something that doesn't even exist yet, their future self. They avoid risks because they might damage their reputation. They hold back effort because they might fail and feel stupid. They cling to comfort because discomfort might diminish them somehow. All of this is the behavior of someone who believes they have something to lose. But you don't. You have nothing to lose because you already lost everything the moment you were born. Your death is guaranteed. The only question is what you do with the borrowed time between now and then. Will you spend it protecting an illusion of safety? Or will you spend it fully engaged with reality? This principle transforms how you approach every situation. That presentation you're nervous about? You're already dead, so who cares if it goes badly? That business you want to start? You're already dead, so why not try? That person you want to talk to? You're already dead, so rejection is meaningless. This isn't nihilism, it's freedom. The samurai who adopted this mindset became unstoppable, not because they were fearless, but because they had already accepted the worst possible outcome. Fear only works when you're trying to avoid something. When you've already embraced it, fear has no leverage. It's like trying to threaten someone with a gun when they're already pulling the trigger on themselves. You can apply this immediately. Next time you face something that scares you, pause and remember, you're a walking corpse. This moment, this challenge, this potential embarrassment, none of it matters in the face of your inevitable death. So you might as well go for it. You might as well give everything. You might as well be honest, be bold, be fully alive while you still can. What happens when you live this way? You stop negotiating with mediocrity. You stop settling for the safe option. You stop dimming your light because someone might be uncomfortable with your brightness. You become dangerous in the best possible way. Someone who cannot be controlled by the usual levers of fear and social pressure. People will notice this about you. They'll sense that you're operating from a different place. Some will be attracted to it, drawn to your freedom like moths to a flame. Others will be threatened by it, because your liberation highlights their imprisonment. Neither response matters. Remember, you're already dead. This also changes how you handle failure. When something goes wrong, when you mess up, when you fall flat on your face, so what? The corpse doesn't have a reputation to protect. It just gets up and tries again. There's no shame in the failure of someone who was never supposed to succeed in the first place. The connection between this and everything before is crucial. You master your mornings, you act within 7 seconds, and now you operate from the mindset of someone who has nothing to lose. But freedom without direction is just chaos. What comes next is about channeling all this power into something concrete. 4. The daily discomfort technique. Comfort is a predator. It stalks you silently, wraps around you like warm chains, and slowly suffocates your potential. The samurai knew this. They deliberately chose hardship even when ease was available. Not because they enjoyed suffering, but because they understood that comfort breeds weakness, and weakness in a warrior means death. Tsunetomo wrote about samurais who would sleep on wooden pillows, practice in the rain, train while hungry. These weren't punishments. They were inoculations against the softness that kills your spirit before it kills your body. Every voluntary discomfort was a vaccine against involuntary suffering later. Here's what this means for you. Every single day you must choose something uncomfortable, not something that will destroy you, not something dangerous or stupid, just something that makes you want to quit. Cold shower, extra set at the gym, that difficult conversation, waking up 30 minutes earlier. The specific discomfort doesn't matter. What matters is that you did it when everything in you screamed not to. This is different from discipline as it's usually taught. Most people think discipline is about doing hard things to achieve goals. That's only half true. The deeper purpose of voluntary discomfort is to prove to yourself that you can override your own instincts. You're training the ability to do what's necessary, regardless of how you feel. That's power. Think about it like this. Your brain is constantly trying to predict the future and keep you safe. When it senses discomfort, it sends warning signals. Pain, anxiety, resistance. These signals worked great when we lived in caves and actual predators wanted to eat us. But in the modern world, they're mostly false alarms that keep you trapped in mediocrity. When you practice voluntary discomfort, you're teaching your brain a new lesson. These signals aren't always accurate. You can feel fear and act anyway. You can feel tired and continue anyway. You can feel resistance and push through anyway. Over time, those signals lose their power over you. They become just noise in the background while you do what needs to be done. The key is consistency, not intensity. One cold shower today won't change your life, but a cold shower every single day for a month rewires your nervous system. It proves that you keep your word to yourself. It demonstrates that temporary discomfort won't kill you. It builds the kind of trust with yourself that can't be bought or faked. Here's where most people get this wrong. They try to do too much too fast. They decide to wake up at 4 in the morning, train for 3 hours, eat nothing but chicken and vegetables, meditate for an hour, all starting tomorrow. By day 3, they've collapsed back into their old patterns, now with an added layer of shame and self-doubt. The samurai way is different. Pick one small discomfort, something so simple you can't talk yourself out of it. Maybe it's 10 push-ups every morning. Maybe it's 1 minute of cold water at the end of your shower. Maybe it's eating your meal in complete silence once per day. Do that one thing no matter what for 30 days. Don't add anything else. Just win that one battle consistently. What you're building here isn't just discipline. You're building identity. You're becoming someone who does hard things. And identity is more powerful than willpower. Willpower runs out. Identity doesn't. When you see yourself as someone who embraces discomfort, choosing the hard path becomes natural, even automatic. Notice how this connects to everything we've covered. The morning ritual teaches you to start strong. The 7-second rule teaches you to act fast. The walking corpse principle frees you from fear. And now, daily discomfort gives you a practice field where you prove your strength every single day. All of this builds towards something final. Something that makes everything else possible. 5. The unbreakable pact with yourself. This is where everything culminates. You can have the best techniques, the strongest mindset, the clearest vision, and still fail if you don't have this one thing. An unbreakable agreement with yourself. Not a goal, not a wish, not a flexible intention, a pact. A promise so sacred that breaking it would mean betraying the core of who you are. Tsunetomo wrote about the samurai code with absolute reverence. It wasn't a set of suggestions. It wasn't open to interpretation. It was a binding contract between the warrior and his own honor. When a samurai made a commitment, the universe itself bent to make it real, because the alternative was inconceivable. Death was preferable to a broken promise. You need this level of seriousness with yourself. Right now, today, you're going to make a pact. Not 10 pacts, not a list of everything you want to change. One pact, one promise, one line in the sand that you will not cross. Choose it carefully because once you commit, there's no going back without losing something essential about yourself. This isn't about picking the most impressive goal. It's about picking the one that matters most to you personally. Maybe it's that you'll never lie to yourself again. Maybe it's that you'll do physical training every single day without exception. Maybe it's that you'll create something every day, no matter how small. The content matters less than the commitment. Here's what makes this different from normal goal setting. You're not trying to achieve something. You're defining who you are. When someone asks you to break your pact, you don't have to decide. The decision was already made. It's like asking a vegetarian to eat meat or a priest to renounce God. The answer is automatic because it's part of their identity. The moment you make this pact, something shifts in your reality. Opportunities that were invisible suddenly appear. Resources you didn't know you had become available. People who can help you materialize from nowhere. This isn't magic, it's focus. When you commit fully to something, your brain starts filtering the world through that lens, showing you what's relevant and hiding what's not. But there's a dark side you need to understand. Making this pact means accepting that there will be days when keeping it is brutal. Days when you're sick, exhausted, heartbroken, devastated. Days when every cell in your body is screaming at you to quit. Those days will come. The pack doesn't care. You keep it anyway. This is what separates the warrior from everyone else. Everyone can keep promises when it's convenient. The warrior keeps them especially when it's not. That's where the power is forged. That's where you discover what you're actually made of. That's where you transcend your previous limitations and become something more. Think about what your life looks like when you're someone who never breaks their word to themselves. People trust you because you trust you. You can make plans years in advance because you know you'll show up. You can start massive projects because you know you'll finish them. Everything becomes possible because you've removed the variable of your own inconsistency. The pact also protects you from the opinions of others. When someone questions your choices, when they tell you to slow down or be realistic or stop being so extreme, you don't need to defend yourself. You simply point to the pact. This is who I am. This is what I do. Their approval or disapproval is irrelevant to someone who has made a sacred agreement with themselves. Here's how you seal this today. Write down your pact. One sentence. Make it specific enough that you'll know if you kept it or broke it. Then commit to it with the same seriousness that a samurai committed to his code. This isn't a contract you can renegotiate when it gets hard. This is who you are now. Everything we've discussed leads here. The morning ritual gives you daily renewal. The 7-second rule gives you momentum. The walking corpse principle gives you freedom. The daily discomfort gives you strength. And the unbreakable pact gives all of it meaning and direction. Together, these 5 principles create a discipline so powerful that the world has no choice but to recognize it. Yamamoto Tsunetomo spent his life studying what made certain men unstoppable, while others crumbled at the first obstacle. He distilled it down to this: the difference is internal, not external. It's not about circumstances or resources. It's about the relationship you have with yourself and the promises you refuse to break. That's the legacy he left us. That's what you're claiming today.